It's easy to overreact after a single win. So before anything else, I want you to breathe and take this one in the right way. The Chiefs looked better against the Ravens, and there are real reasons to feel encouraged without getting carried away. First off, the thing that jumped out to me immediately was the edge dimension we finally saw on offense. Getting that threat to the perimeter changed the math. When a team has someone who can threaten the edge and catch in space, it forces defenses to respect the outside, and that, in turn, softens the inside of the field and gives the run game and quick throws more room to operate. You saw that rhythm. Isaiah Pacheco got cleaner yards because the defense had to account for the edge, and the offense didn't have to manufacture every yard through short, contested windows. Second, the Mahomes you want to see was there more often not, because the play designs were suddenly mic drop level complicated, but because Patrick trusted his line and trusted his reads enough to stand in the pocket and let it rip. When he plants and lets the ball go, when he isn't having to dance out of structure, the velocity and timing come back, and that makes throws into tight spots possible again. Give the offensive line a nod here. The unit showed up in a way that gave Mahomes the base he needed, and that comfort was contagious for the receivers. Third, there was a clear combination effect. The perimeter threat, the run game starting to breathe, and the offensive line holding up made the entire attack function more like a coherent system rather than a one-man show. That cohesion is what turned a sketchy start to the season into something that looks like a team capable of adapting week to week. Now, don't ignore the caveats. The Ravens were missing pieces up front, so we shouldn't pretend this single game solves every issue. But the film showed real positives. Certain players stepped up, a new wrinkle worked, and Mahomes regained some pocket trust. So tell me, did you notice the edge weapon changing how the offense flowed? Vote in the comments, yes or no. And if you saw it, what moment convinced you? If you want deeper tactical breakdowns, split into film clips and play-by-play in the next video. Hit subscribe and help us get to 5,000 subscribers so we can keep investing in the production. Drop a like if you appreciate a reasoned take instead of hot take noise. What really makes this performance stand out is the deliberate use of that edge threat, and that's where Bashard Smith comes into the conversation. Think about how the Chiefs' offense has been structured in the past. When there's a reliable player who can take the ball outside the numbers, force defenders to chase laterally, and also serve as a checkdown option, it reshapes the defense. Smith isn't Jamal Charles. He doesn't have the freaky speed or the jukes to leave guys whiffing in the open field on every play, but he does have something this team needed right now: functional versatility. He can get to the edge quickly enough to demand attention. He can catch out of the backfield, and he can threaten defenses in a way that forces them to stretch horizontally. And that's exactly what the Chiefs have been missing. Something to ease the pressure on Mahomes and the run game at the same time. Against the Ravens, those little touches and outlet options mattered more than they looked live. Every time Smith lined up, there was an extra half step of hesitation in how the linebackers flowed. That hesitation gave Pacheco room to churn out efficient runs, averaging right around 5 yards a carry, which is exactly what you want from your lead back. But it's not just about Pacheco, it's about Mahomes having that safety valve. That isn't a predictable swing pass or a desperate scramble. With Smith on the field, there's a sense that Patrick doesn't have to force a throw into a tight window or bail out of the pocket too early. He can look, reset, and know he has someone reliable on the edge. That alone can calm an offense down and make drives more sustainable. If you had to pick right now, who deserves more touches moving forward, Smith, Pacheco, or someone else entirely? Drop your answer in the comments and tell me why. And if you're enjoying the breakdown, make sure you tap the bell after subscribing so you don't miss the next deep dive. We're aiming for 5,000 subscribers, and every single one helps us keep building this channel into the go-to spot for Chiefs talk. When we talk about balance in this Chiefs offense, Xavier Worthy is the name you can't skip. Against the Ravens, you saw exactly why Kansas City drafted him. He has that instant vertical presence. Defenses can't ignore him, even if he's not catching 10 passes a game. Just lining him up wide and letting him run forces safeties to backpedal, corners to turn their hips, and linebackers to think twice about creeping up. That one adjustment opens the middle of the field for Kelts and Hollywood Brown, and it gives Pacheco and the other backs a lighter box to run against. Worthy's biggest highlight in the game was that gorgeous over-the-shoulder grab downfield. But honestly, his most important contribution was the way he stretched the field every time he ran a route. Even when the ball didn't go his way, the defense had to account for him. Now, let's be real. The run game still isn't where it needs to be. 3.5 yards a carry overall is not the efficiency you can lean on deep into the season, especially against playoff defenses. But the point isn't that the run game is fixed. It's that having Worthy back on the field makes the run game functional enough to complement Mahomes. Think of it like a plant that hasn't fully bloomed yet. You've got to water it, feed it, keep giving it touches until it grows. That means getting Pacheco his steady workload, sprinkling in Smith as a change of pace, and maybe letting another back step in when needed. The run game doesn't have to dominate. It just has to be respected. And with Worthy scaring defenses deep, every run feels a little bit easier. Something else that stood out was how Worthy handled contact. I had concerns about him being rushed back, taking awkward falls, or re-aggravating something. But he absorbed hits, popped up, and kept playing like nothing was wrong. For a guy who's thinner than most receivers, that toughness matters. He doesn't need to be the loudest guy on the team, he just has to do exactly what he did. Stay on the field and keep threatening defenses. That gives Mahomes another vertical option, frees Kelce from having to carry the offense all the time, and keeps the defense honest. Would you start Xavier Worthy every game without hesitation? Drop a yes or no in the comments. Also, what do you think is more important for this offense? To truly peak a steady, reliable run game, or the explosive deep playmaking Worthy brings? Let me know. If you like player-focused breakdowns, smash the like button and subscribe to help us hit 5,000 subs so we can bring you more of these films and player studies. Andy Reid's offense grabbed the headlines. But if you want the full truth about where this team is headed, you've got to give the defense its due. Spags is dialing things up, and that pressure and scheme creativity played a major role in keeping the Ravens from settling into drives. The delay blitz he ran showed up as a subtle but effective wrinkle. It's the kind of thing that turns an otherwise comfortable snap cadence into a guessing game for offensive lines and quarterbacks. And when you mix that with a strong rush up front, it creates chaos in passing windows and forces hurried decisions. That's why I'm encouraged, not because the unit is flawless, but because the coordinator is finding ways to manufacture pressure and leverage personnel in smart spots. Matchups matter going forward. The transcript name-dropped Brian Thomas as a coming challenge, and whoever lines up across from him will need to be ready to handle physicality up front and not allow big run lanes. We also saw younger guys stepping up in the secondary. Jalen Watson and others have played better than many expected, but consistency is the currency of championship defenses. The Chiefs can't afford lapses against run-heavy opponents, and they must continue to tighten their base run fits. That's the practical ask. Keep the blitz packages and pressure wrinkles in the toolbox, but don't let fundamentals slide when teams try to ground down pound. On the offensive side, Andy Reid's decision-making now becomes a narrative thread for the season. The man needs to show a little killer instinct in games the Chiefs should dominate. I don't mean reckless play calling, I mean finishing drives, turning comfortable wins into statement wins, and not letting the scoreline invite doubts about intent. When Reid leans into aggression in the right moments, going for more fourth downs when the matchup favors it, dialing up tempo to maintain momentum, and letting Mahomes feed rhythm through calculated risks, you build the sort of aura that makes teams dread playing you. That's part coaching, part game management posture, and part sending a message to the rest of the league that you aren't content with squeakers. So weigh in below. Should Reid be more aggressive in games where the Chiefs have the clear matchup advantage? Vote yes or no in the comments and tell me why. And another quick poll for the community. Do you think the defense is trending toward being a top 10 unit by season's end? Yes, no, too early. I want to see what Chiefs Kingdom believes. Before we close, let's keep perspective. This win showed that the offense can be fluid. When the pieces move right, the defense is finding creative answers. And the coaching staff still has work to do to turn good wins into truly intimidating performances. The mission for Andy is simple: make opponents afraid to play you by winning the games you should win decisively and sending a message each week. The mission for the roster is simple too: keep feeding the run enough to make the deep game cleaner. Keep the edge threat in rotation so Mahomes has trustworthy outlets, and let the front seven continue creating pressure while the secondary tightens up the fundamentals. If you liked this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and share this with one Chiefs fan who needs a reason to take instead of another. Hot take: help us reach 5,000 subscribers so we can keep producing the level of breakdowns you want to see. Which would you rather?